Broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Welcome, it is the Mark Levin Show. Ben Ferguson filling in for the great one today. We've got an awful lot to talk about, some headlines you don't see every day. So get this. Somebody's getting a refund from a porn star stripper that was ordered by a judge. File that under the headlines I never thought I'd be talking about on the Mark Levin Show. Stormy Daniels has been ordered to pay Trump almost $300,000 in legal fees. As one person said earlier, to come up with all that money, I don't care who you are, that's a lot of lap dances. A federal judge in Los Angeles ordered stripper and porn star Stormy Daniels today to pay President Trump $294,000 in legal fees and sanctions following an unsuccessful attempt to sue him for defamation. Daniels, whose non-stripper name is Stephanie Clifford, was ordered to pay 75% of the president's legal fees in connection to the case, that according to Trump's lawyer, Charles Harder. Earlier in December, Harder petitioned U.S. District Judge to make Daniels pay $800,000 in fees and other sanctions. The breakdown of the now ordered payment is $293,000 for legal fees and $1,000 for sanctions. No word yet on how many poles she's going to have to dance on to get that cash together. If we get the information, of course, we will let you know. Now, on to the other big thing that happened today. And it's a really serious question that we as conservatives have to decide what we feel about this and what we think the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, should do. Do we keep the government open or keep the borders open? That's the question that we have to decide here. And that's really the question, a better way of putting it is what the Democrats have to decide. The Democrats have now put themselves in a situation where they are saying to the president and to the Republicans, go ahead, shut it down and see what happens. And so what the Democrats said is they either have to keep the government open or keep the borders open, but you're not, one of them is, you got to pick which one it is. And it's a question that every Republican really or conservative needs to be asking themselves, except it's a little bit different. It's, should we care more about keeping the government open or should we care more about closing the border? Which one is more important to us? Now, let's also deal with what happens when there's a government shutdown. There's no such thing as an actual government shutdown. The government never shuts down. Non-essentials get sent home. And people that get sent home, by the way, who have government jobs during government shutdown have the best job in the world because they end up getting paid when they're furloughed for all the days that they didn't get paid, that they didn't have to work. Now, there are government workers that are going to go on TV and they're going to cry and they're going to complain and they're going to be all upset and going, oh, I'm going to miss my payday and I can't pay for birthday and I can't pay for this and I can't pay for that. Let me start by saying if you are a government federal worker and you haven't been saving a little bit of money in case you miss a paycheck or two because of a government shutdown, you're an idiot. You work for a government and you know throughout history there will be government shutdowns. And if this government shuts down this time, it will not be the last time it gets shut down. The government it has shut down before. It will shut down again. It will shut down under Republicans and it will shut down again under Democrats. That is the one thing I can guarantee you about the government. You have incompetence in D.C. You have incompetent leaders in D.C. You have narcissists in D.C. that actually only care about themselves and no one else. That's what happens in D.C., and we all know it. And if you work for those people, you should plan ahead enough to know that while you're working for those people, at some point they're going to do something stupid. And it's probably going to mean that there will be a government shutdown. Somebody will get their feelings hurt, and then when somebody gets their feelings hurt, they're going to pout, or they're going to fight, or they're going to finally do something that they should have done before. There's a litany of different reasons why the government shut down. There's a litany of reasons. Everybody knows it. Some shutdowns have been stupid. Some of them have been good. My point is, if there's anything I can promise you about the government, it is that the government will be shut down at some point in your career if you're a lifetime government worker. So spare me this, oh no, someone's not going to get paid or I can't pay for something when I'm a furloughed non-essential. You're an idiot if you haven't been planning ahead for 2 weeks of not getting a paycheck, or even, let's just say, worst case scenario, a month. Because we also know this, government shutdowns last week. They don't last 6 months. They don't last 3 months. They last weeks. They might last 6 weeks at the most, but overall, our government really doesn't shut down for that long. It just doesn't. And if you don't believe me, go back and look at history. Now, Democrats are saying, Mr. President, you can't shut down the government over a dumb border wall. And what the president is saying, and what I'm saying to the president today is, Mr. President, I absolutely want you to shut down the government if that's what it takes to get the border wall. If the president's smart, he will shut down the government. If he's smart, excuse me, he won't flinch. If the president is smart about this, he'll say, I'm all in. And if he's smart, he'll go meet with the Republicans and he'll say to the Republicans, it's basically 2 years till the next election. If the voters don't like it, it'll be a referendum on me more than it's going to be on you. But they're going to forget by then, and it's not really going to matter. It's not like we're 3 weeks or 3 months away from Election Day. We're literally 2 years away. The new Congress people haven't even been sworn in yet. So you need to chill out. He should also look at the Republicans who just got their AWSs whooped by the Democrats and say, you want a little revenge? Let's do something you should have done beforehand, which may have actually helped you get elected or reelected. Send a message as you go home that we're going to have border security. Now, I also think there's another caveat to this story. The meeting that took place with Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and the president and the vice president today at the White House tells me everything I need to know about this. I actually believe that the Democrats are concerned about the liability of being the ones while in power that refuses a border wall. And I think they're pretty smart about this. I think they're actually really smart to understand this liability. And this liability is really clear. If you have a terrorist that exploits our open border and a real large-scale terrorist attack is carried out in this country, heaven forbid, while the Democrats are in charge of the House and they're the ones that clearly chose to make sure that the border wall was not built and we didn't have border security, I think they understand the political miscalculation of that. I think the Democrats are willing to give Trump the money needed for the border wall. They just want a whole bunch of other stuff in return. Now, the question is, how far should we go? I think shutting down the government is not a big issue. The government workers, they get paid for an extended vacation. It's just a delayed payment. But they're going to get weeks off. I think there's nothing wrong with shutting it down. Second thing is the government doesn't ever shut down completely. So essential services and all the stuff that government actually probably should do, they will be doing. In other words, all the government waste will shut down for a little bit, which will be so refreshing. I think the president goes all in on this one. I think without this issue, Donald Trump wouldn't have been elected in the first place. Without this issue, Donald Trump would not be president. It was because of him talking about border security in such a blunt way that made everybody really pay attention and go, oh my gosh, we actually might need to do this. That's when it happened. It was the border issue and him talking blunt about illegal immigrants and those that commit heinous crimes in this country that really turned this about for him, that made everybody go, wow, this is refreshing. This is something I haven't heard before. This is blunt talk that I could get behind. Finally, someone saying what I'm thinking. I would go all in. Now, something else to the rhinos and the Chuck and the Republicans that are still left in the House and those that are running the Senate. To Mitch McConnell and all you guys, you're going to say, well, we don't know if we can afford the bad press. When was the last time the media gave you good press? It's bad press regardless of what you do. You guys can cure cancer, and you'd still get bad press because they would say doctors and nurses put out of work due to cancer being cured. There's no winning with this media. It is impossible to win. So if you're worried about bad press from the government shutting down, I would laugh in the face of that because who cares? They're going to hit you from every angle regardless of what you do anyway. You can be a, quote, statesman, and it doesn't matter. The media is going to hit you. You can say things that sound so mature and so responsible. It doesn't matter because the media is going to hit you anyway. And the president today in the Oval Office, I think, was signaling exactly what the president should signal, which is literally just looking at the Democratic Party and going, and even the Republican rhinos and the establishment and those in the swamp. And what he basically said was, you know what? The hell with all y'all. I'm shutting it down. Mr. Producer, play this. This is Schumer, Trump, kind of a back and forth in the Oval Office. And listen to what the president had to say, and I think he was spot on for saying it. Here it is.
We have a lot of disagreements here. The Washington Post today gave you a whole lot of Pinocchios because they say you constantly misstate how much the wall is built, how much of the wall is built, and how much is there. But that's not the point here. We have a disagreement about the wall, whether it's effective or whatever. Not on border security, but on the wall. We do not want to shut down the government. You have called 20 times to shut down the government. You say, I want to shut down the government. We don't. We want to come to an agreement. If we can't come to an agreement, we have solutions that will pass the House and Senate right now and will not shut down the government. And that's what we're urging you to do. Not threaten to shut down the government because let me just finish. Because you can't get your way.
The last time you shut it down, you got killed.
Let me say something, Mr. President. You just say my way or we'll shut down the government. We have a proposal that Democrats and Republicans will support to do a CR that will not shut down the government. We urge you to take it.
And if it's not good border security, I won't take it.
It is very good border security.
And if it's not good border security, I won't take it.
It's what
because when you look at these numbers of the effectiveness of our border security, and when you look at the job that we're doing with our military,
you just said it is effective.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah, you just said
without
it's effective.
Without a wall, these are only areas where you have the walls.
We want to do
where you have walls, Chuck, it's effective. Where you don't have walls, it is not effective.
The question is, why is it that the Democrats are so obsessed with fighting this wall? Why is it that they are so obsessed with not having border security? I'll tell you exactly why. They need new voters. And every illegal immigrant that gets across the border in this country, they believe is a prospective future American citizen that will vote for them if they give them that American citizenship. I'm going to talk more about that coming up, but I believe that the President of the United States of America is at a point now. You lost the House, and you know what? We may not have lost the House if the Republicans would have actually done their job 2 years ago and built the damn wall. If 2 years ago they would have built the wall, there's a good chance the Republicans may not have lost the House. The reason why a lot of them lost is because they didn't do what they said they were going to do, which was deal with the issue of border security. It's not just keeping out illegals. It's keeping out terrorists as well. And Steve Scalise, by the way, who was on Mark Levin's TV show, Life, Liberty, and Levin on Fox News, talked about this. I'm going to play that for you coming up. 1-877-381-3811. Would you support President Trump going all in, saying, I'm shutting it down until I get every dollar we need for this wall? 1-877-381-3811. Ben Ferguson with you, filling in for the great one. You can tweet at me, Ben Ferguson Show on Twitter, Facebook, Ben Ferguson Show as well. A lot more coming up. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
In favor of shutting down the government because I just think anytime the government's at home, good things are probably happening for the country. Welcome back. It is the Mark Levin Show. Ben Ferguson filling in for the great one today. And some of this back and forth that took place today between the president and Chuck Schumer, one of the snide, snarky comments that Schumer had was him trying to be so excited and Nancy about we won back the House. And he said elections have consequences, Mr. President. And Donald Trump shot back, you're right. And that's why the country's doing so well. You can't make it up. I mean, this president is in a situation now where the Republicans, and I really do believe this, I believe we would have kept the House if Republicans, when they got into office, would have actually done their job. There were a bunch of Republicans that ran on border security, a whole lot of them. And a bunch of those Republicans didn't do their job to actually give the president what he needed on border security. We had the votes. We had the House, we had the Senate, we had the presidency. We could have done, and we should have acted like the Democrats did when Obama got in office, basically saying, we won, you lost, get out of our way. That's what they did with Obamacare and everything else. We should have learned that this is the way that you play. You don't play nice, you play to win. And this issue, by the way, with the border, it's not a tit-for-tat issue. It's a national security issue. Sunday night on Life, Liberty, and Levin, Steve Scalise, who I have an incredible amount of respect for, sat down with Mark and talked about the border security. And he said something that I actually believe that Republicans need to go back to, because the Democrats have done a really good job of changing the conversation on border security to make it into a, well, why do you not like Hispanic people? Why are you racist towards minorities? Why are you racist towards people from other parts of the world? And we started losing the debate when we allowed them to frame the question that way, to frame the argument that way. I've been screaming about this issue for years. For me, it is immigration second. For me, the first issue is the issue of national security. Just listen to what Steve Scalise had to say to Levin on Sunday night.
Every single day, this doesn't get mainstream media coverage, and it should. Every single day in this country, at least 10 known terrorists are captured trying to cross into America through our border. Why are we trying to secure the border? To keep America safe. And it's not that everybody that comes here wants to seek the American dream. There's a legal way to do that. And President Trump has said, go see, even if you want to seek asylum, seek it the legal way.
It's national security, stupid, is the translation. Ben Ferguson filling in for Mark Levin. We'll be right back.
You know who's busier than you at the holidays? The post office. Ridiculously long lines to mail cards and gifts. Who has that kind of time? That's why you need to use Stamps.com. Stamps.com brings all the services of the U.S. Post Office right to your desktop. You can buy and print official U.S. postage for any letter, any package, any class of mail using your own computer and printer. Then the mail carrier picks it up. No trips to the post office required. It couldn't be easier. Stamps.com not only saves you time, it saves you money. And during the holidays, we could use more of both, right? With all the time and money you'll save, Stamps.com is the best gift you can give yourself this holiday season. And right now, you too can enjoy the Stamps.com service with a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus postage and a digital scale without long-term commitments. Go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the home page and type in bunker. That's Stamps.com, enter bunker.
If Mark has banned you from the show, we have a special number you can call to reach him, 877-381-3811.
Shut it down. I'm going to get it to trend on Twitter, Mr. Producer. I'm convinced. Shut it down. Shut down the government if that is what it takes to get full funding for the border wall. I don't want a quarter funding. I don't want half funding. I want the whole thing shut down. Welcome back. Ben Ferguson filling in for Mark Levin, the great one today. And if you just joined us, Donald Trump seems to be leaning towards that based on the conversation that he had back and forth with Nancy and Chuck at the White House in the Oval Office. I'll play more of that for you coming up in a second. But want to talk to you real quick about a organization that I've been a part of now for quite some time. It's called AMAC. AMAC is the conservative alternative to AARP. They are fighting for our values in Washington, D.C. They're fighting against the liberal AARP. Remember, AARP was against the Trump tax cuts. That's right. They did not want the tax cuts to happen. They also helped write Obamacare. And a lot of people don't realize that AARP was actually doing that. If you are a member of AARP, you need to cancel your membership and join AMAC, the conservative alternative. It's more than just incredible benefits. It's more than huge offers and savings and discounts on roadside assistance and travel, hotels. They're actually fighting for our values and for our voice to be heard in Washington. Now more than ever, especially with the Democrats taking over the House, you need to have your voice be heard. So join more than 1 million other conservatives. Go right now to amac.us. AMAC offers a great group of benefits without the liberal agenda of AARP. You're going to love them. Go online right now to amac.us. That's amac.us. Stand with other conservatives. Fight back. You're going to love it. They're just an incredible group. And if you haven't checked them out, go look at them. You'll love what they're doing. All right, let me get back to this other issue here. Is it time to shut down the government? I would argue yes. There was a lot of back and forth in the White House over the idea of shutting down the government. Here's a little bit more of what Chuck Schumer and the President, Nancy Pelosi, had to say from earlier. Hit play, Mr. Producer.
Let's call a halt to this. We've come in here as the first branch of government, Article 1, the legislative branch. We're coming in good faith to negotiate with you about how we can keep the government
open.
We're going to keep it open if we have border security. If we don't have border security, Chuck, we're not going to keep it open.
I'm with you. We are going to have border security.
And it's the same border. You're bragging about what has been done. We want to do the same thing we did last year, this year. That's our proposal. If it's good then, it's good now, and it won't shut down the government.
Chuck, we can build a much bigger section with more money.
Let's debate in private. Okay? Yeah, let's debate in private.
That is devoid, frankly, of fact, and we can...
We need border security. I think we all agree that we need border security.
Yes, we do.
Good.
We do.
See? We get along.
By the way, we don't get along. I wouldn't have said that if I was the president. They don't believe. Democrats do not believe in border security. That's a lie. And I understand the president there was trying to put a, okay, everything, calm down for a minute. I got to work with these people moment. I get that. But they don't want border security. Democrats want every single illegal that can get into this country to get in this country as fast as they can, and then they want to give them amnesty so they'll vote for them. They have no desire to shut down the border. They have no intention of actually having the law and order take precedent over the lawlessness that we have at the border. So if I'm Trump, and I say this to every conservative that's listening and every liberal that's listening, pay attention to my point. Shut it down. Sharon, you're on the Mark Levin Show. Ben Ferguson filling in. How are you?
Hey.
How are you?
Ben, I can't believe it. I listen to you every Sunday night on KARN 102.9 in Little Rock.
Well, thank you. It's nice to have you as I'm filling in for Mark today.
And I'm saying let Trump shut it down.
I don't think Republicans are going to blame him. I think they'll actually I actually believe that if he shuts it down, because there's no downside to this. The media hits him every day on every other issue, right? So who cares? Right. There's no downside. I mean, if you're worried about bad media attention, then who cares?
Will get paid. The government employees will get paid. The senators and the congressmen will get paid.
They always do.
Yes, so...
It's a free vacation for the government worker crybabies who are like, I may not get my paycheck for 2 weeks. I said it at the beginning opening monologue. If you're a government worker and you haven't prepared to not get a paycheck for 2 weeks and you know you work for the government, you're an idiot.
They're going to get it anyway.
Exactly.
Even if it's shut down.
Exactly.
Let's do it. Thank you, President Trump.
Amen to that. Sharon, God bless you. Nice to talk to you. Let me go to Robert in Texas. You are on the Mark Levin Show. Ben Ferguson with you. Hello.
Hello, Ben. I just wanted to take issue with the fact that you consistently tie the border wall and border security together as if they were one. I'm a Democrat. My father was in the Border Patrol, by the way. Democrats do want to have border security. We just do not think that an antiquated border wall an ancient means of keeping people out, is the best and most effective way to spend our tax dollars. President Trump himself said that over the last, I don't know how many days, he didn't explain, but 10 terrorists were caught. Our Border Patrolmen do a fantastic job. Do more 21st century surveillance. Do more in the methods of keeping people out that have nothing to do with building a giant, fantastic, beautiful wall for Donald Trump. You can catapult over the wall. You can dig under a wall. You can lean.
Robert, this is where you lose me here. So let me get this straight. You're saying that a wall doesn't work when data has shown that walls work in places where they built small portions of the wall, whether it's in Arizona, whether it's in California, whether it's in Texas, when there have been communities that have been overrun with illegal immigrants and they put up partial walls. It has had a huge impact. I mean, I'm talking to you today in Texas, in Houston. Don't tell me that walls don't work. Now, I'm not saying that they're bulletproof. I'm not saying that there are people that will not be able to figure out a way, and I'll use your ridiculous extreme example, catapult over. I don't think we're going to have a bunch of people catapulting human beings over a wall. But if they are, I'm pretty sure we can catch them. But this idea that you're trying to imply now that, oh, well, this is dumb. It's all about Donald Trump. No, it's about national security. It's about border security. I'm also not saying that all the other issues of having surveillance, having drones, having cameras, having border agents around the border, you need all that too. But having just a wide open border, I mean, people break through doors and houses all the time that have cameras, that have deadbolts, that have alarm systems. It doesn't mean that you just take the doors off your house. Am I wrong, Robert?
No, you're not wrong about that, but one doesn't have
okay,
to have
so how does the logic change here for you then, Robert? If you have a house and you lock your door, but you do know that there is somebody out there that could knock down that door, you don't just say, well, screw it, I'm going to keep the doors unlocked when I go to bed or go to town or go to work. What you do is you lock the damn door.
But that is not germane to what we're talking about.
It's about security. It absolutely is, Robert. I set the alarm even though I'm sure there's people out there that know how to turn the alarm off. I'm sure there's con men out there, Robert, that know how to disarm my alarm. So it doesn't mean that I just give up and go, well, there could be some hacker out there or somebody that knows how to do alarms that's going to be able to shut it down in 5 seconds. That would be incompetence. Can we agree on that?
We can agree on that. And by the way,
okay, well then let's talk about cameras for a second, because you're the one that talked about all these other measures that we need and trying to imply that this wall is somehow just Donald Trump's ego, which is what you're really trying to imply. There are cameras every day that catch criminals that have masks on. There's banks that were robbed today in America, stores that were robbed today in America, homes that were broken into and robbed today in America that had incredible security systems in place with camera surveillance, and the people were able to cover their face with a hoodie, with a napkin, with a newspaper, with a mask. Does that mean that it's stupid to put security systems in that have cameras, Robert?
I'm not going to keep playing because you keep cutting me off before I'm able to finish my sentence.
No, Robert, it's a simple question. It's not a trick question. It's a simple question. Now, if you can't answer it, just say, I can't answer it. You just whoop my ASS, and we'll move on. All right. Clearly, I whooped your ASS. Pete, you are on the Mark Levin Show. How are you, sir?
Hey. How you doing, Ben?
Good.
Listen, I think we should shut it down. I think Mr. and Mrs. Blowhart should shut their mouths because that's all they do is punch out a bunch of hot air. I'm a New Yorker. I have no love for Mr. Schumer. He's a liar. He tells people one thing, he does another. He doesn't even belong in that office. Hello?
I'm just thinking about you saying he doesn't even belong in the office.
He doesn't.
Why? I'll take the bait. Why? Tell me why.
Because he's in it just for one thing, money. Same with Pelosi. That's all they're in it for themselves. They're not for the people.
Look, when you don't protect the border, when you don't protect people based on the issue of national security, when you keep the door to America unlocked, when you turn the alarm system off, when you don't put up the security cameras, you don't care about America.
All you care about is yourself, and that's exactly what they do.
You care about getting yourself reelected.
That's correct.
That's what you care about. You care about getting yourself reelected and getting in new voters that you desperately need to keep you on top.
Yeah, Ben, all you got to do is ask some people that came in here legally. I have friends from all over the world that came into this country legally. They had to be sponsored. They came in through the proper channels. Why can't these people do it? What is their problem? We have laws. Let's use those laws.
All the Democrats out there saying, oh, we don't need border security. We don't need the wall. All right, take the doors off your house.
Exactly.
Pull down the walls of your gated community.
Exactly.
Do it. I dare you. Thank you, Pete. Nice to talk to you. By the way, Mr. Producer, I told you, apparently, because of you great patriots out there on Twitter, we have Shut It Down trending. That's what I'm talking about. I tweeted out 5 minutes ago, Mr. President, shut it down. Hashtag shut it down at Real Donald Trump. And now the Shut It Down is trending on Twitter. How you like them apples, liberals? Ben Ferguson filling in for Mark Levin. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Welcome back. It is Ben Ferguson filling in for the great one, Mark Levin. Hope you are having a fabulous evening wherever you are in the country. And hashtag shut it down. Should Donald Trump shut it down? I argue that that's exactly what needs to happen, is the president needs to shut down the government to get full funding for the border wall. And today he had this meeting at the White House with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer on the issue, and Chucky and Trump got into it. And I think Donald Trump was right to say, you know what, if I have to, I will shut down the government to get full funding for the border wall. And by the way, we're not talking about a lot of money here. We're just not. In the grand scheme of things, this is a drop in the bucket. It's not like he's saying $1 trillion border wall. This thing is not even something you bat an eye at. No, I mean, you don't even bat an eye at how little cash we're talking about here. We'll get your phone calls on this. The number 1-877-381-3811. All right, I want to tell you real quick about Car Shield. When it comes to costly car repairs, you need options. Instead, often you're stuck bargain hunting for the best deal because, well, you got to see what you can afford, and you don't want to fork over hundreds or even thousands of dollars for a car repair. Now, you can't put a price on your family's safety and security on the road, so many times you want to get it fixed the right way. Well, Car Shield makes the process of fixing your car for a covered repair super easy. You can have your favorite mechanic or dealership do the work. It's your choice. They also provide 24/7 roadside assistance and a free rental car while your car is being fixed for free. If your car has 5,000 to 150,000 miles on it, it doesn't mean you have to pay high repair bills. Car Shield administrators have paid out close to $2 billion in claims, and they're ready to help you. So you can save thousands in future car repairs. Get the coverage you need. Call them 1-800-CAR-6100 and mention the code Levin, or visit carshield.com. Use the code Levin to save 10%. 1-800-CAR-6100. Use the promo code Levin. All right, I want to get back to what the president had to say earlier today. Mr. Producer, if you'll get that ready. This is, again, the back-and-forth fight between Schumer and Donald Trump. Nancy Pelosi, she was in there a little bit. Listen to this.
One thing I think we can agree on is we shouldn't shut down the government over a dispute. And you want to shut it down. You keep talking about it.
The last time, Chuck, you shut it down.
No.
And then you opened it up very
20
quickly. And
20 times.
I don't want to do what you did.
20 times
Chuck,
you have called for, I will shut down the government if I don't get my wall. None of us have said.
You want to know something?
You've said it.
Okay, you want to put that on my...
You've said it.
I'll take it.
Okay, good.
You know what I'll say? Yes. If we don't get what we want, one way or the other, whether it's through you, through a military, through anything you want to call, I will shut down the government.
Okay,
absolutely.
fair enough.
And I am proud, and I'll tell you what,
disagree.
I am proud to shut down the government for border security, Chuck, because the people of this country don't want criminals and people that have lots of problems and drugs pouring into our country. So I will take the mantle. I will be the one to shut it down. I'm not going to blame you for it. The last time you shut it down, it didn't work. I will take the mantle of shutting down. And I'm going to shut it down for border
But we
security.
believe you shouldn't shut it down.
Thank you very much, everybody.
You know, Mike Huckabee said something that I thought was really good about this. He said he saw a comment online, apparently. He says, Donald Trump reminds you of a doctor that's got no bedside manner. He tells you what you need to do. You need to lose 100 pounds and stop smoking. Then you're offended. You're angry. You come up with 10 reasons why that doctor's crazy, and then you finally realize that he's the only one telling you the truth. And that's exactly right. Donald Trump is saying what has been said for more than 2 years now, which is we need a border wall. We need border security. It's the same thing that Steve Scalise said with Mark Levin on Life, Liberty, and Levin on Sunday night. He said, we have terrorists that are coming across the border. Now, I do think Republicans have made a mistake. I think conservatives have made a mistake. They have allowed the Democrats to change the narrative of if you're not in favor of, if you want border security, what that really means is you're a racist and you hate minorities. You hate Hispanic people. And we should have done a better job of saying what Steve Scalise has been saying. The number one reason why I want a border wall is not to deal with illegal immigration, it's to deal with the issue of national security. We should have learned our lesson about how vulnerable we were as a nation after 9/11. We should have built the damn wall then. And we didn't do it then, and that's our fault. But we have a chance to correct it now. And to every Republican that's about to leave Washington, what do you have to lose? You already lost to the Democrats, and you probably wouldn't have if you would have actually done your job like you said you were going to when you sent you there 2 years ago. If you would have actually done your job then and built the wall right out of the gate, you might actually still have a job. So at least leave on a high note. Do your job. And Mr. President, don't back down on this one. 1-877-381-3811. Ben Ferguson filling in for Mark Levin. Hour 2 coming up.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hour 2, Mark Levin Show. Ben Ferguson filling in tonight for the great one. It's an honor to be with you this evening, coast to coast. And so it was a day where Donald Trump got to sit down and meet with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, and it was supposed to be a conversation about the funding for the government. It turned into quickly the issue of funding for the border wall, and what are we going to do? Democrats very clear on the issue, regardless of what they say. And we have now years of data to prove this. They do not want a border wall built ever. Every time they've had a chance to do it, they've refused to do it. So when they sit there and tell you that they care about border security, they're pathological liars. They don't. I deal with facts, not emotions. And the facts show that Democrats have never had any interest and or intent in having real border security. They want an open border. They want a porous border, and they want it so that they can have as many illegal immigrants come into this country as they can get through our open border, and then at some point give them amnesty, and that is potential voters in the tens of millions for them. And those tens of millions of voters procreate, which gets them more voters. And they procreate, which give them more voters. You see the math, and it's clear that the Democrats They understand where they are on this issue, and they understand why they're this way on this issue. They cannot survive as a party, I would argue, without having illegal immigrants in this country become their next voters. This is in spite of the economic or national security issues that have actually are related to an open border. So when Democrats tell you that they care about you and your job, they don't. If they did, they would secure the border from an economic standpoint. When they tell you that they care about your stagnant wages and they come out with these just egregious campaigns of exploiting people with things like Fight for 15, which is just so stupid. That every single person that has a beating heart deserves to get paid minimum $15 an hour for showing up to do a job that was never designed to ever pay anyone $15 an hour. And when Democrats, and I've had this debate, I've gone to these Fight for 15 rallies, and I've said to them face to face, why are you not talking to Democrats about Fight for 15 and how they have undercut your wages by allowing illegal immigrants in this country by the tens of millions to take away jobs that might allow you to get out of this dead-end job, and they can't answer it. So when you hear the Democrats say they care about jobs and they care about Fight for 15 and they demand these $15 wages and all this, we need to do a better job as conservatives of reminding those people who are out there walking out of their job of Walmart or Target or McDonald's or Taco Bell, that you're probably stuck in this job because Democrats have taken away the next job from you that would have probably paid you that by allowing illegal immigrants to come into this country. So regardless of the economic conditions that it has a negative impact on the poorest people in this country and the poorest communities in this country, which are predominantly represented by the Democratic Party, somehow they've gotten away with this. That's the fight we should be having over this issue. Now, the second issue, which to me is even more important, is the issue of national security issues related to having an open border. Steve Scalise, who many of you know, he was shot and barely survived that attack by a crazy nutjob liberal who decided to take out or try to take out a bunch of congressmen who were practicing for their baseball game for charity, survived that attack. And he clearly now is fighting in Washington with a new sense of purpose and perspective. He sat down with Mark on Life, Liberty, and Levin on Sunday night. And, Mr. Producer, play that clip again of what he said the real issue is about the border.
Every single day, this doesn't get mainstream media coverage, and it should. Every single day in this country, at least 10 known terrorists are captured trying to cross into America through our border. Why are we trying to secure the border? To keep America safe. And it's not that everybody that comes here wants to seek the American dream. There's a legal way to do that. And President Trump has said, go see, even if you want to seek asylum, seek it the legal way. But if you're trying to break our laws and come over here when the president's saying we're going to secure the border, there's a reason. He's fighting to keep this country safe because there really are bad people that try to come here.
That's the issue that we should really be talking about, more than the issue of illegal immigration. This is a national security issue. And we should be pounding the Democrats and Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi on the issue of national security. And we should be saying it to them over and over again because that is, to me, the issue that actually resonates with the American people. Why is it that you are not doing everything you can to protect the American people from another terrorist attack by allowing terrorists to have the ability to come across our open borders? That's priority number one for me. Priority number two is the issue of the economy and jobs. But regardless of the economic or national security issues related to having an open border, Democrats are clear on the issue. They do not want a border wall built ever. It is not in there. They're willing to play Russian roulette on the issue of national security. And they're more than willing to hurt the American workers economically in their pocketbooks by undercutting their wages and stagnating their wages for the possibility of giving out amnesty to all these illegal immigrants that come into this country illegally. They need these new voters. And we need to be clear about that. We need to be selling this. And I hope the president is listening tonight and those around him are listening, because this is what he needs to start all over on the sales pitch to the American people about the border wall, because it has turned into the Donald Trump wall, and no one thinks about it anything different than a broken record of Donald Trump talking about a wall again. And people that don't think about these issues go, oh, here we go again. This needs to be a reset. Today needs to be a reset of the issue to remind people what this clearly all started about. It was not originally about a great big wall and it's going to get 10 feet higher every time Democrats say this or Mexican government says that. It's become almost a character of itself, the wall. It's become a issue where you hear wall and it's either, and you fall on the issue based on if you like Trump or you don't like Trump. This issue is bigger than President Trump, and it needs to be talked about in a way that is bigger than Donald Trump. And the person that needs to do it, by the way, is Donald Trump. Second thing is, this is a very risky political game for both parties. I talked about this, as many of you know, Mark's show that's on Blaze TV. I have a show there. It's called The Ferguson File. And I hope you guys will check it out. It's on Facebook. You can see some short segments of it called The Ferguson File on Facebook. But there was something I said there today as we were taping this morning. And I said, this is a risky political game for both parties. If the GOP does not act, they're going to be blamed by many conservatives like myself and many of you that are listening for failing on the promise they made to build the wall. In fact, many of the Republicans that are packing up their offices in Washington as we speak are packing up their offices, I would argue, because they didn't build the wall, which was something they all promised. That's the first issue. The second issue is there's the fallout if an actual terrorist attack is able to, terrorist is able to exploit our open borders to carry out a major terrorist attack, and I hope that never happens. But the threat is there, and Steve Scalise made it clear how real that threat is. Congressman Scalise said this is the issue, and he's right. Now it comes down to what should Donald Trump do? Should he negotiate with the GOP and the Democrats on the issue of funding the government and actually avoid a government shutdown? Or should the president say, you know what, the hell with all y'all. I'm shutting down the government until you fund the entire wall from a national security standpoint and also from an immigration standpoint. And I think, based on what the president said today, he seems to be leaning towards that idea. I don't think there's anything to lose here, because if the number one reason why people are afraid to shut down the government historically is bad press, and I can tell you exactly how it happens and how it works. So little Timmy goes to Washington to see some monument, and they get him in front of his mom, and they sit there and they talk about how excited they were, and now they can't see anything, and it's just so sad. And this is your government in America, day 3 of the government shutdown. You find some little old lady or little old man who's terrified that their Social Security check may not show up when, in fact, it will show up. And you show the fear of the American people because the government may shut down. And then you lie about what a government shutdown actually is. And you talk about how all these people are going to be hurt when the reality is it is only non-essential government employees that are sent home. And then you find a government worker and you find a single mom who's doesn't have a big, high-paying government job, and she talks about how terrified she is that she may not be able to pay her bills. That's the news cycle, and they do it with a countdown clock. Day 4 of the government shutdown. As you pay taxes, America's government shut down. Again, I say it. The election's 2 years away. People will forget this government shutdown before Election Day. And the government's going to hit you anyway. So I would just, I really mean this when I say it. I'd say, Mr. President, just look at him and say, you know what, screw it, I'm going all in. Let's own this. Let's just go all in here and say, the hell with all y'all, including the Republicans. I'm not budging. I got 2 years to sit here and wait for you to be responsible adults and protect the American worker and, most importantly, protect the American people. 1-877-381-3811, 1-877-381-3811. Ben Ferguson filling in for Mark Levin. You can send me your comments as well, Facebook and Twitter, Ben Ferguson Show. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Welcome back. It is nice to have you. Ben Ferguson filling in for the great one, Mark Levin, tonight. We got a lot to chat about, including Donald Trump today signaling that it looks like he's probably ready to go all in and say, you know what, I'm going to shut down the government until I get full funding for the border wall. Congressman Steve Scalise, and I want to play this again if you missed it earlier, said this to Mark Levin on Life, Liberty, and Levin on Sunday night on Fox about the real threat of terrorists at our border every single day. Here's what he had to say. Listen to this.
Every single day. This doesn't get mainstream media coverage, and it should. Every single day in this country, at least 10 known terrorists are captured trying to cross into America through our border. Why are we trying to secure the border? To keep America safe. And it's not that everybody that comes here wants to seek the American dream. There's a legal way to do that. And President Trump has said, go see, even if you want to seek asylum, seek it the legal way. But if you're trying to break our laws and come over here when the president's saying we're going to secure the border, there's a reason. He's fighting to keep this country safe because there really are bad people that try to come here.
Look, my advice to the GOP, to the president, is reset with those words from Congressman Scalise. Go all in on a reset of repackaging and re-explaining the intent of the border wall so it's not just a Donald Trump thing. The media and the left have done an excellent job of turning the wall into an issue that's just, do you like Trump or not like Trump? They've literally turned it into a simple, do you like Trump? Well, if you like him, then of course you're going to be in favor of this terrible wall. And if you hate the president, then you should clearly be against the wall. It's a much more complex issue than that, and we should do a reset on it. We shouldn't give an inch, by the way, once we do this reset and resell it to the American people. I believe the Democrats actually are willing to make a deal. If they weren't, they wouldn't have been meeting with the president in the first place at the White House today. And the GOP's out of power in the House, so there's nothing to lose by going all in at this point. And let the Democrats whine. Let them complain. Let them go out there and tell the American people the same talking points they've been telling them. Let them complain and whine about how we don't need security like they did today in front of the White House after they left meeting with the president. Let Nancy Pelosi be the face of the anti-wall movement. Put her in that situation because the American people don't like her. And Trump ought to have a all-hands-on-deck meeting. He should go to Capitol Hill. He should meet with the GOP. And he should say, guys, you're leaving town, so stick it to the Democrats. One last time. Give me the funding that we clearly need on the issue. Give us the funding that we need on the issue that conservatives in this country clearly want to be fixed. They clearly want their tax dollars to be spent on this. I will say a side note here about the Democrats. I also think the Democrats understand the political ramifications of inaction on this issue. It's a big game of chicken to play when you're dealing with terrorists. They know that there will be blame, and it will be solely on them. If anything major happens on the issue of national security in this country because of the refusal to have a secure border. And this is your shot, Mr. President. This is your window to act. This is the window to stand tall on the issue and not blink. We're far away from Election Day. A government shutdown most conservatives I know have no problem with. We got to repackage what it's all about. It can't be just Trump wants it because right now Trump wanting it means that other people say the hell with you and you're never going to get it. That's what Trump is right now. 1-877-381-3811. Let me get to your phone calls on this one. Let me go to Chris. You're on the Mark Levin Show. Ben Ferguson filling in. Go ahead.
Hi. I believe that you're going to be overlooking minor facts. Everyone's worried about how much the border is going to cost now, but it's a matter of later. If we did follow the Trump's line of thinking with having Mexico pay for it, we wouldn't have to really worry about that now anyway. But I don't think the wall is ever going to happen. I think that it's going to cost too much later down the line. And
how? Tell me how it costs too much. How does it cost too much later down the line when we know for a fact from the census numbers, Chris, that 63% of all non-citizens in this country, which includes illegal immigrants and those here on green cards and those that have overstayed their green cards, are on some sort of government aid. And we know that after a person has been in this country illegally for a decade or longer, the number skyrockets to more than 70%. So the idea that this is going to cost us money is laughable. We're already spending billions of dollars a year, Chris, on the illegal immigrants that are in this country illegally. And that's not my numbers. And hold on, I'll give you a fair shake. Hold on, you've been waiting a while. I'll come back to you. But that's from the census data. Those aren't Ben Ferguson numbers. That is the census, the government's numbers stating this. Ben Ferguson filling in for Mark Levin. We'll be right back.
Right versus left is right versus wrong. Call Mark at 877-381-3811.
Proof that being a pro athlete making millions of dollars a year doesn't make you smart. Trump-hating star basketball player Steph Curry says, quote, he doesn't believe that America landed on the moon. It gets even better. Now he's being trolled by NASA. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that in a moment. Ben Ferguson filling in for the great one, Mark Levin, tonight. And if you don't want to end up like Steph Curry and saying that we didn't actually go to the moon when we clearly did, then maybe you want to get yourself a little bit better educated, as some on the left would say. Well, our nation's oldest colleges were founded to teach students to seek truth, recognize what is beautiful, and hold up what is good. But the vast majority of them have abandoned their mission. Locked in the grip of political correctness, they no longer allow free and open discourse. Rejecting the ideas of truth, they peddle this liberalism on campus. Well, thankfully, none of what I just said actually applies to Hillsdale College. For almost 2 centuries, Hillsdale has remained true to its original mission to provide sound learning of the kind essential to preserving civil and religious liberty and intelligence that you can actually base on facts. Right now, Hillsdale is doing something that's really cool. They are offering something that I love. Their free online courses. They're also offering the publication of their free speech digest. And all of this is happening, and it's great for you as kids, for your kids, I should say, for grandkids, etc. It is something that I love about what Hillsdale is doing, because they're not just giving people this at their college. It's all over the country. So you need to check out Hillsdale and see what they are offering. If you are a parent that homeschools, I was homeschooled when I'm younger, this, in my opinion, is incredible curriculum. Their Barney Charter School Initiative, which is helping to establish classical K-12 charter schools nationwide, is something else. Get involved with Hillsdale. Get those free online courses. Check them out, Hillsdale College online as well. All right, back to this. NASA is now trolling the NBA star, Steph Curry. And what they've said to him now is they're offering to give the NBA superstar a tour of one of its lunar labs after the Golden State Warriors guard, who is anti-Trump, this guy's an idiot, said on a podcast that he actually doubts that humans landed on the moon. This is why you go to school, kids. This is why you go to school. NASA decided, all right, we'll play game. Well done, NASA, by the way. Curry made this head-scratching comment on an episode of Winging It, that's appropriate, which posted yesterday. According to the Bleacher Report, Curry brought up the subject himself during the more than hour-long podcast with fellow NBA players Vince Carter and a couple other dudes. Curry said, quote, "We ever been to the moon?" The other players, "Nope." Curry, "They're going to come get us." "I don't think so either." You know, people say that that college athletes go to class. That's what the NCAA tries to tell you. As a former college athlete, I can tell you that there's a lot of athletes that don't go to class. There's a lot of fake grades that are given out. Vince Carter went to college, and I'm pretty sure it was UNC, who is one of the dudes that says he believes we didn't land on the moon. Now, I've got some confidence that UNC believes that we did land on the moon, so maybe that's just more proof that the universities are not making these guys go to class. It's just sad. You're a multimillionaire. You could be a role model for kids, and then you're telling people, and it wasn't just him, it's the whole group of players on the podcast. "Yeah, I don't think we landed on the moon. Do you?" Me neither. Well done, by the way. Well done to NASA for getting in on that one. All right, I want to go back to Chris here. We're talking about border security. Is it time to shut down the government to get the border wall funded? Chris, I want you to pick up for people that didn't hear what you said earlier. You believe that the wall is too much money and it's going to cost us too much money over the long haul, correct?
Oh, even more than that. It's not that it costs a lot now, because I believe that if we were to have it, I think it's never going to happen. I should also prerequisite this. I'm a conservative. I agree. I think we should have a wall, but I'm playing devil's advocate because liberals aren't very good at using statistics or good points. So I'll argue in their favor.
All right. So tell me. Let me ask you this. I gotta vet you. Tell me what it means to be a conservative.
You believe strongly in the Constitution. You believe less government is more freedom, and they are only there for what we need, not what we want. I think they're passing too many laws. I think it's time to start taking them back.
I'm gonna give you a B as a professor's grade, because we don't give out A's here easily. All right, we don't do that.
Yeah.
Now here's my point about what you just said about, well, it's going to cost too much money. All right, census data confirms that 63% of non-citizens are on welfare. That's 4.6 million households. A majority of non-citizens, including those with legal green card rights, are tapping into welfare programs set up to help poor and alien Americans. The Census Bureau findings that have bolstered the president and other conservatives' claims about immigration costs this nation way more money than we'd ever spend on border security. This latest numbers, and the best we have, are from 2014, so they've probably gotten worse since then. 63% of non-citizens are using a welfare program, and it grows to 70% for those here 10 years or more, confirming another concern that once immigrants tap into welfare, they don't ever get off of it. It also goes back to what I've been screaming up for years. Why do you think so many illegal immigrants in this country work for cash? Because they get the government benefits. And the idea that illegal immigrants are coming here to work is also a lie, and this proves my point. They're not coming here just to work. They're coming here to basically mooch off of us, the hardworking Americans, because we're dumb enough to give them a bunch of free crap that their countries where they came from would never give us.
Yep, you're absolutely right. I think that the policies are the failure in this point, not the border security. It's been proven by Pew Research that since 2007, we've dropped with 1 million illegal immigrants living in the United States. But I think that there's a policy failure in the idea that we are actually letting more illegal immigrants cash in on that.
Well, and we don't know how many have actually left or not. We just don't. I mean, we really don't. And that's probably because we have an open border. So by the millions, people are able to cross back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. They can come in. They can make some money. They can send the money back to Mexico. It goes back to, why does Mexico not advocate for a secure border? They're willing to risk their security because security, let's be honest, in Mexico really doesn't matter. I mean, they've got. They're not worried. They have terrorist groups that are sanctioned by the government and these cartels that they refuse to take down. They have corruption to the highest levels in their government. They don't care. They also know that there's not a whole bunch of terrorists sitting around wanting to do attacks in Mexico. They're wanting to do it in America because they hate America. They just don't care. I appreciate the phone call. Thank you, Chris. Good to talk to you. 1-877-381-3811. Let me go to Terry. You are on the Mark Levin Show. Ben Ferguson filling in tonight. Go ahead.
Hey, Ben. How are you?
Doing well, sir. Give me your take.
Just bear with me a second. I totally disagree with what you're saying, to the point of you said that the Democrats politically it's important to them to let illegals in. I look at it, and I'm coming from, I believe I was a conservative. Now I'm leaning more towards independent because I don't believe either one of them. And the reason I say that, either party, the reason I say that is because I think both parties need illegal immigrants in this country. And the reason I say that is the Democrats need it for votes, and the Republicans need it to keep floating it out every election so people vote for them.
Yeah, but I would say, how'd that work out for you? To the Republicans. It didn't work out very well because you guys floated it out there as a core campaign issue. You didn't deliver, and you lost the House. So I would say you better hurry up and get it done.
But the president's asking for $5 billion for a wall. I think that money could be better spent. I don't think we need it.
Okay, whoa. How? Give me an example of some way it could be better spent than building a wall.
I'll tell you. The building a wall is reactive. And the best way to spend that money is take that $5 billion.
Is locking the door on your house reactive or proactive?
But let me finish my point.
I understand. Hold on. You got to answer that question for me, though. Is locking the door on your house reactive or proactive?
I'd say it's proactive.
Okay. Is having an alarm system reactive or proactive on your house?
Proactive.
Is putting up cameras on your house reactive or proactive?
Proactive.
Is living in a gated community reactive or proactive?
That's proactive.
So how can all of that not apply to a wall at the border of your country, man?
But let me tell you, because that $5 billion could be spent to hire a lot more border security.
Border security officers will tell you, and if you've ever been to the border, and I said this, I'm in Houston, Texas tonight. If you've ever been to the border and talked to the border security officials that are actually at the border, they will tell you that without a wall, it is trying to herd cats.
Let me finish my point. Hire more border security. Don't build the wall. Put a 30% remittance. I'm from Dallas. I lived in Dallas, Texas for 10 years. Put a 30% remittance on every single nickel that goes through these check cashing places back to Mexico.
I love it.
Mexico will then stop illegal immigration coming here because the dollars aren't coming over there no more.
No, they won't. That's where you're wrong. They will happily, they will still keep an open border. And the reason why they will still keep an open border is because even the citizens of Mexico know that when they come across the border and work here, American dollars, even if 30% of it disappears when you send money home, it is still a hell of a lot better life than what you were living down there. And the other thing is the illegal immigrants will just get smarter about it. They'll just hoard the money and they'll ship it back across the border themselves. They'll go get on a bus, get down to a border town, cross the border, hand off the cash, and then they'll come right back.
And let me ask you this then. If this was such a hot-button issue with Republicans, Trump has been in office for 2 years. Why are they waiting till the 11th hour to shut the government down?
It's not Trump. It's not Trump that's doing it. It's the Republicans. And that's the reason why the Republicans lost the House. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Donald Trump has been consistent for 2 years on this. The House Republicans are the ones that got their AWSs whooped in the midterms, and they deserved it because they didn't deliver on the basic campaign promise, which was, if you put us in charge of the House, Senate, and the presidency, you vote for me, you vote for Donald Trump, we're going to deliver on border security, and they didn't do it. That's exactly why this happened. Terry, I appreciate the phone call. 1-877-381-3811. Ben Ferguson filling in for Mark Levin. You can tweet at me at Ben Ferguson Show on Facebook, Ben Ferguson Show. A lot more coming up. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Welcome back. It is the Mark Levin Show. Ben Ferguson filling in for the great one tonight. And if you just joined us, it's a tough one. I don't actually think it's that tough. I say shut it down. Go all in, Mr. President, and shut down the government if you have to until you get the full funding for the border wall. Who cares about the crybabies in the government that say, oh, my gosh, you didn't get a paycheck? If you work for the federal government and you hadn't planned enough to take care of yourself for 2 weeks or a month without a paycheck, knowing that government shutdowns happen, that's on you. You're an idiot. Here's your sign. Grow up, be a responsible adult, and plan for the future. Oh, but Ben, it's the holidays. I don't care. It's the federal government. You should have known better. If you don't have enough money to cover 2 weeks when you work for the federal government, and knowing that there are government shutdowns that definitely will happen in your lifetime, you're an idiot. 1-877-381-3811. I want to talk to you about my ID card. The holidays are a time for family, being thankful, and sharing blessings. Sadly, the holidays are also about scamming, and every year fraud increases during the holidays, and thieves like to orchestrate, well, a celebration when they grab your hard-earned money. For fake charities to package delivery scams, it is a season for identity theft. This year, don't let the holiday spirit distract you from staying safe. You'll need identity protection more than ever, so get it from the best. My ID Care has been taking care of Fortune 500 companies for years, and now they're offering identity protection to everyone so you can make sure your whole family is covered. From Tri-Bureau credit monitoring to dark web scanning, it's the kind of comprehensive protection that you need, especially while you're shopping right now online for the holidays. Plans start at less than $10 a month, and only My ID Care offers a money-back recovery guarantee. Don't worry about identity theft anymore. Enjoy your holiday with peace of mind from My ID Care. Listeners of the Mark Levin Show also get 15% off at myidcare.com/Mark. You use the promo code Mark. Again, myidcare.com/Mark. Learn more and let My ID Care take care of you. myidcare.com/Mark. Enter the promo code Mark at checkout. All right, I want to get back to your phone calls now. And if you just joined us, we are talking about the government shutdown. Do me a favor, Mr. Producer. Let's play the president, how this blew up today at the White House between the president and Chuck Schumer as they were fighting over this idea of shutting down the government. And Donald Trump was right. He reminded Chuck, hey, Chucky, you've shut down the government before, so don't act like it's some terrible thing when it happens for political reasons. Listen to this.
We have a lot of disagreements here. The Washington Post today gave you a whole lot of Pinocchios because they say you constantly misstate how much the wall is built, how much of the wall is built, and how much is there. But that's not the point here. We have a disagreement about the wall, whether it's effective or whatever. Not on border security, but on the wall. We do not want to shut down the government. You have called 20 times to shut down the government. You say, I want to shut down the government. We don't. We want to come to an agreement. If we can't come to an agreement, we have solutions that will pass the House and Senate right now and will not shut down the government, and that's what we're urging you to do. Not threaten to shut down the government because let me just finish, because you can't get your way.
The last time you shut it down, you got killed.
Let me say something, Mr. President. You just say my way or we'll shut down the government. We have a proposal that Democrats and Republicans will support to do a CR that will not shut down the government. We urge you to take it.
And if it's not good border security, I won't take it.
It is very good border security.
And if it's not good border security, I won't take it.
It's what the
Because when you look at these numbers of the effectiveness of our border security, and when you look at the job that we're doing with our military...
You just said it is effective.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah, you just said
Without
it's effective.
a wall, these are only areas where you have the walls.
We want to do
where
this.
you have walls, Chuck, it's effective. Where you don't have walls, it is not effective.
He's right. When you don't have walls, it's not effective. Lee, you're on the Mark Levin Show. Ben Ferguson filling in tonight. Hi, Lee. How are you?
Hi, how
Lee,
you doing?
Lee, there. Hold on. I got a hard break here. I didn't even realize what time it was. Hold on. I'll come right back to you, okay? 1-877-381-3811. You can tweet at me your thoughts as well. Ben Ferguson Show on Twitter, Facebook, Ben Ferguson Show, Mark Levin Show. Man, we're flying tonight. Hour 3. Coming up.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Welcome, Hour 3, Mark Levin Show. Ben Ferguson filling in for the great one today. And if you have missed the news today, there was a nice little fight that took place at the White House between Chuck Schumer and President Donald Trump. Nancy Pelosi was there, too. I don't think she's getting enough credit for just being there, all right? I mean, don't you? She deserves to be talked about a little bit. She was there also. You can hear what she had to say about it, and she said a couple words. We'll deal with her later. Let me just let you hear what went down. This happened at the White House earlier today as the president was talking about, you know what, I am willing to shut down the government if I need to, over the issue of border security. Here is President Trump and Chuck Schumer, a little back and forth from earlier today.
Is we shouldn't shut down the government over a dispute, and you want to shut it down. You keep talking about it.
The last time, Chuck, you shut it down.
No.
And then you opened it up very quickly. And
20 times.
I don't want to do what you did.
20 times
Chuck,
you have called for, I will shut down the government if I don't get my wool. None of us have said.
You want to know something?
You've said it.
Okay, you want to put that on my...
You've said it.
I'll take it.
Okay, good.
You know what I'll say? Yes. If we don't get what we want, one way or the other, whether it's through you, through a military, through anything you want to call, I will shut down the government.
Okay,
absolutely.
fair enough.
And I am proud, and I'll tell you what, I am proud to shut down the government for border security, Chuck, because the people of this country don't want criminals and people that have lots of problems and drugs pouring into our country. So I will take the mantle. I will be the one to shut it down. I'm not going to blame you for it. The last time you shut it down, it didn't work. I will take the mantle of shutting down. And I'm going to shut it down for border security.
But we believe you shouldn't shut it down.
Thank you very much, everybody.
I love the part there at the end, but wait, we believe you shouldn't shut it down. I mean, at what point do you just say, you're an idiot, let's go all in, let's have this war? Let's do this. Let's go big. Let's just go all in. Let's go big on this one. Let's see how this turns out. You want to go? Let's go. You're ready for this? I'm ready for it. Let's see how this works out for you. 1-877-381-3811. Should the president actually go all in on this issue and shut down the government? Over it. I don't think it'll be for that long. Let me go to Lee. Thanks for waiting. You are on the Mark Levin Show. Ben Ferguson filling in tonight. Go ahead with your point.
Hey, thank you. Yes, first of all, I'd like to thank all the federal employees out there that work hard to do a great service to our country every day. And even if they can't afford it, I don't think they're idiots if they can't afford the shutdown, because they work hard, they deserve a paycheck, and we don't know.
They get the paycheck. Situation. It's just a delayed paycheck.
I understand that, but if they don't have the money saved up, then it is hurting them. Nobody.
Okay, but here, look. If you work for the federal government, there is no reason why you shouldn't have at least 2 weeks to a month of reserve cash to get by if you actually are living paycheck to paycheck because you work for the federal government.
Okay, and I would like to say this. I worked for the federal government, and yes, they do pay well, but the government hires people at a very young age to do jobs, and not everybody has that perfect bank account, going into the job, and they don't have the experience and the financial means to be able to survive a government.
So you're telling me that I'm supposed to believe that government full-time employees might not be able to survive for an extra 2 weeks, and that is more important than actually having border security and keeping terrorists out of this country and keeping illegal immigrants out of this country that are undercutting American jobs and wages. You're going to sell me on these poor government workers can't make it for 2 weeks, possibly if they don't get a paycheck, while at the same time the policy that you're allowing to happen is taking away years of decrease in pay from American workers and taking away full-time employment from many American workers and putting many American workers and businesses and small business owners completely out of work. And how can you have it both ways? The insanity of that logic astounds me, that you're so concerned over 2 weeks of a delayed paycheck, yet you're completely unconcerned about the actual American worker who is hurt by illegal immigrant labor. I can't get my head around it.
And there's a few points I'd like to bring up. First of all, what I'm trying to sell you on is that, number one, both is important. In fact, there's a lot of things in this country that's important, but yes, border security is definitely important. Borders just as important as government employees being laid off. So we need to find a resolution that's going to prevent people from being laid off, even if they're retroactively paid. And at the same time, we need to increase border security. Now what I'm saying is that I do not think that building a wall is the answer. Now you said to the last.
Well, okay, but hold on. Why is building the wall not the answer?
Do what?
Why is building the wall not the answer?
Okay, that's what I'm about to explain. Okay, here's the thing. Besides the fact that the wall is just, he's asking for too much money off the taxpayers'
It's
back.
not. If you're concerned about fiscal responsibility, then you should be screaming for the wall, because the census confirms that 63% of non-citizens are on welfare, 4.6 million households, a majority of non-citizens, including those that are here illegally, are tapping into welfare programs set up to help the poor Americans. The Census Bureau shows that this is a massive problem that's costing you billions of dollars a year. So don't tell me that $5 billion for a wall is going to hurt us when we're putting out literally hundreds of billions of dollars in aid going to illegal immigrants and long-term overstayers of their visas who are working in this country, many of them for cash, hurting the American worker and taking off the American government with all this government aid that we're giving them.
Okay, now when you lock your door at night, does that guarantee a burglar can't get in?
No, but I lock my door at night because of how. Wait, let me finish. I lock my door at night to hopefully prevent from being an easy target of a burglar. Having a wall does not guarantee you that no one will ever be able to break in. Having a lock on your door doesn't guarantee that no one will ever break in your house. But what it does say is, I'm paying attention. I'm not going to let it be easy. I'm going to make it be difficult. I'm hoping that you'll go on down the road to another house that is easier for you to break into, because I have cameras. I have a security system. I have a Glock. I have a SIG. I have an AR-15. And I also have a dog. So if you really want to come in here, make sure you got ID so that we can make sure that next of kin is notified of me whooping your ASS.
And see, you made a perfect point that corroborates what the last caller was saying and what I'm about to say, which is that, yes, fences, cameras, locked doors, they all work as a deterrent. The wall, it may work as a deterrent, but if
that's the whole point, though. The whole point is to have a deterrent, and right now there is no deterrent at the border. It's a cat and mouse game where it's like, hey, there goes Border Patrol agents. Okay, run behind them into America. And the proof that it doesn't work is the millions of illegal immigrants who are in this country right now. The proof that not having a wall is a stupid idea is the fact that we know that millions of people come back and forth across the wall, including people that kill American citizens. You had a drunk driver last week that had been deported 6 times that killed a mother and her child, and she was 7 months pregnant, and he had had multiple DUIs and been deported, I think it was 6 or 7 times.
Well,
that's how easy it is to get back into this country.
If that wall was there, that never would have happened. Yes, it would have.
Again, you don't know that. You don't. No. You don't know that. What you just said is a lie. You cannot guarantee me that an illegal immigrant with a full border wall is going to be able to get back into this country 6 or 7 times after we catch him being deported 6 or 7 times. You cannot tell me that this would have still happened. That is a lie. And if you want to go with that scenario, then clearly your logic would say this. Someone's going to break into your house. They're going to break into your house regardless of what security measures you have. So I would challenge you, Lee, take the open borders challenge. Take the windows off your house or leave them unlocked and take down the doors, because clearly if someone wants to rob you, quote, they're going to do it anyway.
And that's true. And you want to know how I feel? I feel that
Lee, please tell me that you're intellectually honest enough to admit that you would never take the doors off your house, because that would just be stupid.
Down the door, but like you said, we need more people. It's the people that is able to stop them.
Lee, I'm done with you. If you can't even admit that what you're saying is just stupid, I'm going to move on. 1-877-381-3811. Ben Ferguson filling in for Mark Levin. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Welcome back. Mark Levin Show, Ben Ferguson. It's always an honor to fill in for the great one. And we are talking about border security. Census numbers, 63% of non-citizens on welfare. The last caller is another reason why Donald Trump should shut down the government over border security. The incompetence of so many people on the idea of, the wall won't work. Okay, then take the challenge. I posted this picture up on Facebook, and I'll throw it up there on Twitter if you want to check it out. But I posted this picture up there, and it reminded me because someone sent it to me a while ago, and we were having this debate tonight. And it says, take the open door challenge, America, to show support for open borders. And it shows 2 guys literally taking off down their front door. Go ahead, I dare you. If you actually have the guts to call me and to tell me that a border wall won't work, then take the open door challenge. Take down your door and just leave it wide open and see how that works out for you. And then when you get robbed, call me and we'll talk about it. Take the experiment. I mean, if you truly believe this idea that a wall will have no effect on immigration, and if the wall actually had no effect on immigration and illegal immigrants, then why are the Democrats fighting so hard to make sure the wall's never built? If the whole goal of the Democrats is to bring in new voters for the Democratic Party, and that's why they're against the wall, because they're afraid they're going to cut off the pipeline of illegal immigrants who could be prospective voters for them, and you tell me that the wall doesn't work, then why wouldn't you say, I don't care, just do the wall? It's 5. Democrats don't care about government spending money. If you don't believe me, just look at where we are with the deficit. Hell, Republicans don't even care. So don't play the money game to me, okay? Don't play the money game here. Oh, it's going to cost too much. We're trillions of dollars in debt. The amount of money we're talking about to build the wall is nothing compared to what we spend money on in this country. It's a joke. And if Democrats weren't concerned about it, and they thought that the wall would somehow not work, and they believe that the wall would have wouldn't work at all, then I go back to, again, the basic point, which is, then why are you trying to stop it so hard? Why are you trying to stop it? 1-877-381-3811. Let me go to Ann. Thanks for waiting. You are on the Mark Levin Show. Ben Ferguson filling in tonight. How are you, Ann?
I'm doing fine. I've just been bubbling over, waiting to give this idea that I've had when they were talking about the wall designs and how they were going to put solar panels on them. I thought, well, I've been to Tijuana. I know those border towns are really poor, and a lot of them don't even have electricity, barely have signals at the intersections. They could lease power from us if instead of putting just panels, if we built a linear power plant, and then they would lease it from us, and it would be in their interest to guard it, maybe even supply some of the labor, I don't know. But it would be a positive thing.
I mean, you and I both, I think we can agree that probably won't happen.
Well, people don't believe that solar would work, so I think that any.
I'm talking about from an issue of logistics. They'll never. I mean, we can't even get them to just put up a fence, much less solar.
Well, if they knew that they were going to get the power from it, that would benefit them on those border towns where there are deficit. There's an electricity deficit.
But I don't think they're willing to trade that for what they are getting in Mexico. I mean, what they are getting in Mexico, and the Mexican government and the people know this, is the number one stimulant of their economy. This year is going to be illegal immigrants sending back their money through Western Union and other forms like that. It's outpacing their oil production revenue in Mexico. They don't want it, they don't care about power. I mean, you get my point. What matters more to them is the number one stimulant of their economy, and the number one stimulant of their economy is illegal immigrants that break into this country, that get jobs or get paid in cash with their jobs here, and they send the money back, Western Union, to their families and friends, their relatives in Mexico. And you need an open border because it would be catastrophic to Mexico's economy if you actually shut down the border and you stop the jobs in this country and you stop the flow of cash going into their country. It would be catastrophic to their already, horrendous economy. They would be forced to clean up their country. And they would be forced to actually do what they should have been doing for years, which is protect their citizens, grow their economy, and not have corruption in the government with officials and drug cartel members.
Well, I understood that the president had talked to AMLO, Obrador, rather, about leaving the access to work open, and also some of the
look. You do it in an orderly fashion. I don't have an issue with that. I'm okay with that. Robert, you are on the Mark Levin Show. Ben Ferguson with you. Hi.
Hi, calling in today. I think this whole this debate about immigration is pathetic. This whole country was built on the premise of immigration. In the early 1900s, thousands, if not millions of people came to this country illegally.
Right, but we also realize that you need to have laws, Robert. Hold on, I won't cut you off. I'll happily take this call. Ben Ferguson filling in for Mark Levin. This is going to be fun, folks. Get ready. A lot more coming up. We'll be right back.
The establishment's worst nightmare. Mark Levin. Call in now. 877-381-3811.
Welcome back. It is the Mark Levin Show. Ben Ferguson filling in for the great one tonight. A judge has ordered the pole dancing stripper Stormy Daniels to, I forgot she's a porn star too, to pay nearly $300,000 to Donald Trump in attorney fees. Insert your refund from a porn star joke right now. Go ahead. You can do it. Also want to give you a quick update. 2 dead in that shooting in the French city of Strasbourg. Police say the shooter has not been caught yet. They just gave us an update on this, and police said that the armed person entered the Christmas market around 8 o'clock, heading towards where the shops were. The suspect then opened fire, police said. Police said they have identified the shooter, who unfortunately at this point still remains at large. What we know is 6 people suffered life-threatening injuries. 6 others suffered minor injuries. And as I said, at least 2 people are dead. The suspected gunman was injured, they say, during an anti-terror operation. The suspect is a 29-year-old man that the French network has known about. The suspected gunman was also under, they said, government surveillance, and they have a file on him, an extensive file on him. The group that was monitoring them is the French terror/radicalization watch list that he was on. That includes thousands of people, some of who are under active surveillance, meaning they are actually on law enforcement radar. They are confirming that, so this looks like this is a direct connection to terrorism. We'll keep you updated on that throughout the evening as well. All right, I want to just remind you also about Simply Safe. Want to make sure nothing comes between you and protecting your family this holiday and save hundreds of dollars while you're at it. Well, you need Simply Safe home security. If a storm takes out your power, Simply Safe is ready. If an intruder cuts your phone line, Simply Safe is ready. Say they destroy your keypad or your siren. Don't worry, Simply Safe will still get you the help you need. What I love about it is the fact that it's not really overkill. Some people say that it is. No, it's not. It's exactly how to fight back against what criminals do, what storms do, natural disasters. They believe that nothing should get between you and protecting your family. That's why Simply Safe doesn't cost an arm and a leg either. They charge you what's fair, what's right, $14.99 a month. And today you can actually save hundreds of dollars on that protection if you go to simplysafemark.com. That's simplysafemark.com. Make sure to use that website so that they know that we sent you there. And hurry, this holiday offer is ending soon. So again, simplysafemark.com. There you have it. All right, I want to get back to your phone calls as well on Donald Trump today. And Mr. Producer, if we can play that exchange for people that missed it earlier. This is Chuck Schumer and Donald Trump talking about the possibility of a government shutdown. Chuck Schumer saying, well, you shouldn't just have a temper tantrum and just shut down the government because you don't get your way, Mr. President. And Donald Trump fought back with some facts about the history of government shutdowns, including several that Chuck Schumer was actually in charge of. Listen to this.
One thing I think we can agree on is we shouldn't shut down the government over a dispute. And you want to shut it down. You keep talking about it.
The last time, Chuck, you shut it down.
No.
And then you opened it up very
times.
quickly. And
20 times.
I don't want to do what you did.
20 times Chuck, you have called for, I will shut down the government if I don't get my will. None of us have said it.
You want to know something?
You've said it.
Okay, you want to put that on my...
You said it.
I'll take it.
Okay, good.
You know what I'll say? Yes. If we don't get what we want, one way or the other, whether it's through you, through a military, through anything you want to call, I will shut down the government.
Okay,
absolutely.
fair enough.
And I am proud, and I'll tell you what, I am proud to shut down the government for border security, Chuck, because the people of this country don't want criminals and people that have lots of problems and drugs pouring into our country. So I will take the mantle. I will be the one to shut it down. I'm not going to blame you for it. The last time you shut it down, it didn't work. I will take the mantle of shutting down. And I'm going to shut it down for border security.
But we believe you shouldn't shut it down.
Thank you very much, everybody.
But we believe you shouldn't shut it down, Mr. President. Let me go back to Robert. Robert, you disagree on this issue. You think that this is a bad idea to shut down the government. Go ahead.
I just think this whole country was built on immigration. I had my grandmother and grandfather came from Scotland illegal on a boat. Thousands of people came here illegally, most good people, and they built this country what it is today. I think the people that's immigrating today, the only thing they're guilty is they're poor, they're being oppressed, and they're fighting for a better opportunity. Where is the government? I don't think it's the immigration system that fails. The people. It's the people that manage the immigration system.
All right, let me ask you a couple questions. I think we could actually argue that every nation was started by immigrants, right? Because before they were a nation, by default, everybody would be immigrants, right?
Absolutely.
Name one great nation that has completely open borders and a lack of government protection responsibility for their country and their borders. Name one.
I don't really know, I guess, a whole lot about it. It
doesn't exist. I'm not trying to beat you up. We got to deal with facts here. There is not a single country in the world that was, and I use your word, founded by immigrants that didn't set up an organized government with a set of laws and rules to protect the country that they were building. That has not been. I mean, the most successful nations in the world have secure borders. They have a set of laws that are there for there to be order. In fact, if you look at the history and the founding of this country, the reason why our founding fathers decided to leave another country and to start a new country is because they wanted a new type of government that was protecting the people, that was not oppressing the people. And they understood that you needed borders. Hell, why do you think we have states? You had states because different states wanted to have different rules, different laws. That's the reason why we drew lines.
Yeah.
Again, why is it that you say, I mean, if the immigrants that came to this country illegally, they even understand how after they got here, hey, we got to have some laws here. We got to have some rules. We got to have secure borders. We have to have a security infrastructure. We have to have all this set up so that we don't become a melting pot of insanity.
Right. Where is
you look at the story. I go back to the stories here. You have an immigrant that was arrested for murder that was previously deported at least 8 times. An illegal immigrant arrested for shooting and killing a coworker in Oregon is discovered to have been deported at least 8 times because we think that there could be more out there. This 52-year-old was arrested for murdering a coworker. The two worked together at a creamery. I mean, we're talking about an ice cream shop, basically, in the northeastern part of the state, and had a long-running dispute. Investigators that say that he shot him on November the 26th while he was riding a tractor. I mean, this guy was deported from this country at least 8 times, and the only reason why he was able to get back in 8 times is because we don't have a secure border. So Don't you want to keep this guy out?
Well, there's bad apples in every bunch, and this because
that didn't answer the question. That didn't answer the question. Do you believe that that 8 times that we catch a guy for committing a crime to the point where we deport them and he's able to come back in and then murder an American citizen, would you agree that clearly is a problem with the system?
Absolutely. I don't think it's the immigration.
So then here's the other thing. This is the other thing about the false premise of your initial statement. You said that your family came here, right, as immigrants, okay?
Right.
I'm not against immigration. I'm against illegal immigration. I'm in favor of people going through the appropriate steps and measures that the laws state you need to do to immigrate to this country legally. I am not in favor of people being able to just come and go as they please without us knowing who they are, what they're doing, what they're about, where their money's going, what taxes they aren't paying, what government aid they are stealing from our American taxpayers that are actually supposed to go to help American citizens. You're implying that the moment we build the wall, that means we're shutting out all immigrants and everyone that would ever want to come to this country. That is not the case. I'm advocating for the people that do it the right way, and I am discriminating against the people who are lawbreakers.
I agree with you, but I also think the government's broken. They poorly manage
and
immigration.
Proof of that is having a guy that can be deported 8 times and then not having a secure border to keep this guy out who killed an American citizen.
And we also have you know, we have to be humanitarians. We have to have compassion.
Again, who do you want to? I would rather help people that need help, that are willing to respect our laws and be good citizens. I'm not in favor of helping out a guy who's been deported 8 times that kills an American citizen.
I agree with you. He should be put out of the country.
So let me ask you this: after everything that we just talked about, how are you still not in favor of building the wall?
I think the wall might be a good thing, but you know what? They had thousands of people dedicated to intelligence in 9/11. What do? They walk right in the front door of the U.S. and knock down 2 office buildings.
Okay, I get, Robert. You can't be perfect all the time. You know that, right?
Work.
Hold on, Robert. You know that you can't be perfect all the time, right?
No, I'm far from perfect.
Okay, so you made mistakes. The intelligence community had turf wars with the CIA, wasn't talking to the FBI. We didn't have Homeland Security like we have now. We had breakdowns in our systems. But since 9/11, we have not had a major terrorist attack on American soil. And after 9/11, every American believed that another attack was going to happen probably pretty soon that would be on the same scale. Governments get it wrong, but a lot of times, we correct when we make a mistake. The number one glaring mistake that we have not corrected since 9/11 is having an open border without security. And it goes back to what was said by Congressman Scalise. And Mr. Producer, can you get that ready? Let me know when you got it ready, because I want to play Steve Scalise again. He was on Life, Liberty, and Levin Sunday night. And this is what he had to say about the national security aspect of the border. Listen to this.
Every single day, this doesn't get mainstream media coverage, and it should. Every single day in this country, at least 10 known terrorists are captured trying to cross into America through our border. Why are we trying to secure the border? To keep America safe. And it's not that everybody that comes here wants to seek the American dream. There's a legal way to do that. And President Trump has said, even if you want to seek asylum, seek it the legal way. But if you're trying to break our laws and come over here when the president's saying we're going to secure the border, there's a reason. He's fighting to keep this country safe, because there really are bad people that try to come here.
If you believe that this is a national security issue, then listen to what Steve Scalise just said. What are we doing? Wallace in Kansas, you're on the Mark Levin Show. Ben Ferguson filling in. Hello.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, Ben. I'll tell you, I don't know how you keep your sanity with some of these callers. I mean, I've been yelling at the radio for the last hour and a half, but you know, it's funny because
there's some special people in the world. That's all I can say.
Well, it's funny because this nation was built on immigrants, as everyone loves to keep saying. Well, aren't these the same immigrants that also put these laws in place too? I mean, come on. But anyway, that aside.
Well,
yes.
No, we have. Here's the thing, Wallace. We have laws that are in place. We just don't enforce them.
Well, I get that, but it's funny because, you know, these immigrants that all came over here are the ones that also helped write these laws, you know, a long time ago. So.
Well, I do wonder this, and I say this to Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, and I really do mean this. Whose team are you on? When all I'm trying to do is keep out this 52-year-old Ortiz guy that was arrested for murdering his coworker who'd been deported minimum of 8 times, and you still don't want to put an apparatus up that would stop this from happening. Whose side are you on here? Whose team are you playing for?
You'll get no argument from me, you know. But here's a couple observations from the Pelosi, Schumer, Trump deal today. You know, Trump. First of all, Trump didn't say he wanted to shut the government down. He said he would be willing to shut the government down. And what's funny, Trump will shut it down on behalf of the American people to give us what we haven't had since 1986. 1986, as you'll recall, Ronald Reagan, a Republican, signed amnesty. He cut a deal with Democrats. And what have we gotten? 30-plus years. We got all the amnesty, 30-plus years of no more border security. We've had 2 Republican presidents, 2 Democrat presidents. Nobody's done their job. We've had Republican Congresses. We've had Democrat Congresses. And now they want to do amnesty. They want to do DACA. And those are code words for we're too much of political cowards here in Congress to fix the mess that we created, and amnesty is going to be how we lift the rug up and sweep the problem underneath there and hope it goes away. We got 20 million more illegals in this country because we cut a deal with Democrats. And Donald Trump, thank God for that man, has drawn a real line in the sand and said, not another more. We trusted you before. We're not doing it again. And again, what I heard Trump say is, I'll shut the government down on behalf of the American people. What Democrats are saying is, we'll shut the government down on behalf of illegal aliens.
Yeah, you're right about that. And without, I remind the president of this and his staff, it's an important thing that we need to keep reminding him. Without this subject, this president of the United States of America would not be president. Without him going full-blown, protect America, build a wall, and saying, you vote for me and I'm going to give this, he would not be president. He wouldn't be. Ben Ferguson filling in for Mark Levin. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Mr. Producer, you know I care about all people, even liberals. So here's your public service announcement for the evening. Jimmy Dean Sausage has recalled 29,000 pounds of sausage after metal pieces have been found in the sausage. So before you eat your sausage in the morning, even you liberals out there that aren't weird vegans and vegetarians and all that, if you're normal, then just check out your Jimmy Dean sausage before you get there in the morning. You're welcome. See, I care about all people. It's always an honor to fill in for Mark Levin. So thanks, you guys. And if you want to keep up with me, you can actually keep up with me just like you keep up with Mark Levin with the big news. CRTV and the Blaze have merged to create Blaze Media. And if you're sick and tired of the phony news, well, then you want a grand debate? Well, here it is. It is a massive lineup of pioneers, conservatives that embrace and advocate for conservative ideas with an open dialogue. 2019 is going to be the biggest year ever. We're going to be adding more hosts, more shows, and hopefully you as a viewer. Mark wants you to have a chance to join him in his show. And it's easy to sign up now for Blaze TV. Right now, you can get an entire year of Blaze TV for only $6.58 a month when you use the promo code Levin Christmas. That's Levin Christmas. You can go to LevinTV.com or just call us, 1-844-LEVIN-TV. That's 1-844-LEVIN-TV. And you use Levin Christmas, and that'll get you Blaze TV for only $6.58 a month. You'll also get my show, The Ferguson File, which our newest show is up there right now, so you can check that out. And if you want a little sneak peek of what it looks like, you can check us out. The Ferguson File is on Facebook as well. So again, 1-844-LEVIN-TV. Make sure you use the promo code Levin Christmas, and you'll get Blaze TV for $6.58 a month. Thanks for joining us tonight. Love to keep up with you. You can follow me on Facebook and Twitter, Ben Ferguson Show on Twitter and Facebook, and Ferguson File as part of the Blaze TV. You can check that out on Facebook as well. I'll see you back here again real soon. If I don't talk to you before Christmas, Merry Christmas to all you, and we'll see you back here real soon.